I'm Tamara. So by the title of this video, I'm 18 and I am pregnant. I am 31 weeks, almost 32. It's a baby girl. She is due in March. Super excited, super nervous. But this is just like a little story time, and I'm just gonna tell you all about, how I found out, how I told my fiance, how I told my parents, all of it, because I was scared to death to tell some people. So it was in June when I found out. My fiance, I love him, his name's Dylan. He had woken up to go to work, to get ready for work and all that. And I was a few days late, which isn't unusual, but I was still like, probably should test this. But I waited till he left for work because I took the test at like 6 o'clock in the morning. It was a little positive, had 2 lines, and I was like, okay. And I was half asleep, so I was like, okay, sure. So I went back to bed. I woke up probably about 8 o'clock. I looked at the test again. I'm like, oh crap. Oh wow. It's positive. Which was just crazy to me. We weren't trying, but we weren't, preventing either. But yeah. So first thing I did was, I was like, okay, I had to figure out how I got to tell Dylan, what am I gonna do? My family's gonna kill me. Like, all this bunch of stuff was just running through my head. And so first thing I did was I went to my sister's, because my sister lives like 15 minutes away, and I was like, oh, so I have something to tell you, because I was like, I don't know what to do. I don't know, I don't know what to do. And she's my older sister, and she has 3 kids, so she knew what to do. Her first thing she said to me was that my dad was gonna kill me, and I was like, yep, I know, that's great. So then she was like, well, gotta call a doctor, you gotta do this. She gave me like a list of stuff to do. I was like, okay, great. Then I told my friend, one of my really close friends, because I was like, I can't hold this in, I can't keep this in all day. Haven't told my fiance yet. I wanted to surprise him when he got home from work. And that time he was, he's a construction worker, so he works, he could work wherever from 20 minutes away to 2 hours away. And I think this job site, he was about an hour away, and he already got off at 4. So I was like, great. I had to wait till 5 o'clock for him to get home to tell me. That is not fun. I don't like that. But I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna keep quiet and tell him. And so I'm talking to my friend, and I was like, I'm so nervous. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to tell him. So then I went to Walmart, and I just got a little thing of cute onesies, and I wrapped it up, put the pregnancy test in it, wrapped it up, and put it on his computer. So when he got home, he would see it, because he usually goes to his computer. That day, he got off early. He calls me at 2 o'clock. It's noon or 2, somewhere around there. And he was like, I got off early. He's like, I'm coming home. I was like, yes, perfect. I don't have to hold this in. But so then he gets home. I'm like, hey, I got you something. I was like, it's on your desk. You should go see it. He's like, yeah, I'm gonna go take a shower first. I was like, no, go see it now. I want you to see it. And so he walks over. He's covered. He had been doing installation, I think, and that's the stuff that makes you all itchy and gross if you touch it. So he opens it up, and he saw the onesies, and I don't think he really got what the onesies was, and then I told him to keep opening it up. And then he saw the pregnancy test, and he goes, really? And then he didn't want to give me a hug. He wanted to hug me, but he didn't, because he had the ejaculation all over him. So he just he like took his shirt off and he gave me a hug, and then he started crying a little bit, and then I got a little emotional, and we were like, okay, now we gotta figure out how we're gonna tell everyone else and when we're gonna tell everyone else. So at that point, we had calculated everything, and I had been about 4 weeks. It was only 4 weeks along, and I was like, okay. So I called the doctors. We got an appointment in for me at 8 weeks. Figured out we would tell everyone when I was about 12 weeks, in case, anything happens, because you never know what could happen. My dad and his family came into town. They live up in Texas. They had come down for something, and we were all swimming at the pool, nothing strange, And my stepmom, she came up to me and she was like, hey, you seem different. And I was like, thanks. She goes, you seem really happy. I was like, I am. She's like, no, you seem different too. She was like, and then she goes, are you pregnant? And I was like, I'm thinking how do I respond to this, because I don't want to lie to her, but we're also not telling people yet. Only like 2 other people know. And I was like, yeah. So this was a Tuesday. So that happened on a Tuesday, and I was like, I'm only 6 weeks along. I was like, we're not telling people yet. And she's like, well, you need to tell your dad. And I was like, I don't know how I feel about telling him in person, and don't know how to go about all that. So then a couple days passed, and it was Thursday, and we went out to see Toy Story 4 with them. The movie ended, and my dad took my little brother to the bathroom, and Josie was like, you need to tell your dad before we go. She was like, if you don't, I will. And I was like, I was like, I don't know how to do it, I don't know. And so then we said goodbye, we got in the car, and like right when we got into the car, I just started bawling, because I'm like, my dad's gonna like hate me, but I was like, okay, I gotta do it. And I'm gonna do it by myself, because Dylan had to go to work on Friday, so it was just me doing it. So Friday comes along, I'm scared to death, I feel like I'm gonna poo my pants. And so then, I got a little emotional there. So I pull up into the parking lot. My dad's cleaning out their van to get ready for the trip. My dad comes in and he starts packing, and then I kind of push like a chair towards him. I'm like, hey, Dad, sit down. I gotta tell you something. So he sits down, and I just showed him a picture. I didn't say anything. I didn't want to say anything. I was like, here's a picture. It's a picture of the pregnancy test with the onesies and all that. And he was like, okay. And he was a lot more supportive than I thought he was going to be, which is great. He wasn't mad. He wasn't anything like that. He was like, well, I'm going to cry. No, I'm not. So he, said, we'll help, blah, 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 if stuff doesn't, work out, you can always come to Texas with us and all this stuff. And he was just really not what I was expecting, which is great. And so then we figured, well, since now my dad knows, we need to tell Dylan's parents, and we need to tell my mom. And it's like, well, this is a lot sooner than I wanted to, because people have miscarriages, and if I have that, I don't want to I don't want to go through that with, I know people like support systems, but I didn't. But we go over to Dylan's parents' house every Sunday to do laundry. So I think it was just a Sunday. I had started becoming a little bit more nauseous. Hadn't thrown up yet, but I was just I wasn't myself. You could tell I was a little different, but I could at least. I don't know if they did. But How we told them was we got a little box and we put some pacifiers in there with a little note. And I was just like, can you guys keep these? Can you keep these? Because mommy and daddy don't want me sucking my thumb, blah, blah, blah. Bateman baby to come 2020. And at that point, I hadn't gone to the doctor. Or I might have. I don't remember. But they opened it and his mom got it right away. His mom was like, you guys are pregnant? And his dad was like, huh? I was like, what? But they were shocked. They didn't really know how to respond, which that's fine. Not everyone does. You know, we didn't get any of the big, like, happy-go-lucky, woohoo, you're pregnant type of stuff because I am 18. I just got out of high school, you know. It wasn't in anyone's plan for me to be pregnant, but now everyone is super excited. So then, you know, they were like, they did like the same thing my dad did. They talked, you know, financially wise, this is gonna be, you know, probably tough, blah, 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 all that kind of stuff. Parent talk. And so then in July, so I had already gone to the ultrasound to see, and I'll show you the picture, but I cannot find them. I don't know where they are in our apartment. They're somewhere in here. But, so then July comes around and we were going to my mom's to go to to the Amelia Earhart Festival, which is a big fireworks show. It's really cool. An airplane show and all that. So at this point, I had been getting really sick, throwing up like every meal. I was like, okay, we got to tell my mom because I am like sick. You know, I can't hide this, especially since we're gonna be at a festival all day and I'm probably not gonna want to eat. Get to her house Friday night and the festival is that Saturday. So Friday night she makes really good barbecue meatballs and mashed potatoes. It was really good. I threw it up. I didn't tell them until afterwards. But with my mom, we just have a gift bag. We used one of the onesies that was in the pack that I got for Dylan. We wrapped up the pregnancy test in it and we just gave it to her. And so after dinner, you know, they cleaned up. I went out to the car. I got the gift. I brought it in. And my mom was in her little like craft room. And I walked in and I was like, hey mom, I got you something. And she just looks at me. She looks at the gift. She goes, you're not. And I was like, open it up. See what it is. And so she's opening it and she opens it. And she was like, I knew it. She was like, I knew what that gift was. And so then we went out and she told her husband and he did not know what the pregnancy test was because we just handed him it to it. We didn't say that I was pregnant or anything. But we handed the pregnancy test to him and he just kind of like looked at it. But it was the digital one. We had given her a digital one that just said pregnant, not pregnant. So he just kind of looked at it and then he tried to open it. And we're like, no. That's gross. So that was really funny. But yeah. And they were, you know, they again we talked to them and my mom was a little bit more excited. But we found out we're having a girl. Her due date is March 4th. She is measuring about 2 weeks ahead. At least that's what my last appointment. But her name is going to be Brinley May. And I'm super excited. And I know my fiance is too. We have a bunch of baby stuff. I mean, if I literally like pan over, we have a bazillion boxes from my sister. And my baby shower is coming up and I'm excited about that. But yeah, thanks for watching. Thanks.